Later, games came home. Suddenly, you could play them on your own TV, which was outrageously exciting, as this demonstration by Leslie Judd clearly demonstrates.
Leslie there, entering the peculiarly male world of mindless games.
Today's mindless games are far more advanced, yet continue to evolve in countless directions at once.
Case in point, the aforementioned Nintendo Wii, with which the humble joystick has evolved into an extension of the human arm.
My favourite game on the Wii is this one, where you just repeatedly poke Vernon Kay in the eye.
Or look at this on the PC, a bunch of players amusing themselves online in a custom-made Faulty Towers map for the multiplayer deathmatch epic Counter-Strike. What's that? Not as funny as Faulty Towers, I hear you say. Well, of course it isn't. It's not supposed to be.
People always have a go at video games in that way, saying things like, oh, no video game is ever going to be so moving, it will make the player cry. Well, so what? That's not its purpose. That's like arguing that ballet isn't a valid art form because it doesn't make people fart. It's not trying to, you stupid thixicle.
OK, so the cutscenes are almost always laughably bad, but that's part of their charm, if you ask me. Take Resident Evil. The game was superb, but the cutscenes were like a soap opera on heavy skunk.
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But never mind the acting, the video game's main objective is to tax your problem-solving skills or just excite you like a thriller, and they do this better than anything on TV.
You know, I actually had to stop playing this game once because I was genuinely getting post-traumatic stress disorder. That's an achievement of sorts.
Yes, video games are going through a renaissance, and you shouldn't miss out, like you are now, by choosing to watch TV instead, like some kind of medieval throwback farmhand it takes ages to get anywhere like this. Am I out of frame yet? Thank for that. Now here's Rab and Ryan from online video game show Consolvania and BBC Scotland's Video Guidance.
Well, Microlive was a very dry educational show back then. I think we were about 8 or 9, must have been when it was on.
Aye.
I think the thing people remember most about Microlive was the opening titles where an owl kind of flew in. And kind of technological minded people are always interested in owls, aren't they? I think it's because they've got the perfect neck for porn browsing on the internet, where you can be watching the latest Belladonna video and kind of checking behind you to see if your mother's walked in the room in one kind of smooth motion. I think that's the...
Who's Belladonna?
Look it up.
It's hard to tell who the audience was because they spent a fortune on it, but everything on it cost like £5 grand.
This micro, for example, would set you back about £7,000 or £8,000.
Fred Harris was the presenter of Microlive, and he was a decent guy, he was just a nice guy. You don't see guys like that presenting shows on TV anymore. Everybody's a bastard on telly now.
Nice one, Rainbird.
You know, even with graphics as basic as they were back then, they were so awe-inspiring to the people that made Microlive.
But best of all are the graphics.
Only Brothers in Arms with Dire Straits could possibly convey the emotion that they were feeling. These days you've got like 1,000 games coming out every week, right? But back then it was 1,000 machines you had coming out every week. So they would have a guy on explaining what this new machine was, and it'd be literally as quick as he'd walk off the set and one of the crew would turn them round and send them back on with another machine, and he'd explain how it's been upgraded. In that like 3 seconds since he was last there.
It's got 512k of RAM, it's got 512k of ROM, so we're getting close to 1.5 meg altogether. That's really quite a lot.
Because it was old technology show, everything is measured by telephone books. It's like they have a new disc on it and they say, on this disc you can get 33 pages of a telephone book on it. Because it's the only measurement that people understand, and they go, there's a new disc and you can get like 2 gigabytes on it.
There's something this size and you can get 1,000 phone numbers on it.
Aye.
One day, we may be able to store enough information to fill 10,000 phone books.
Database was ITV's kind of response to Microlive, and it was a lot more entertainment based, but they hired psychopaths to present it, didn't they? Tony Bastable was the main presenter, which is just, I mean, that's like a name that somebody's written, a name that somebody's created.
He's an absolute nutcase.
Tony Bastable was worried about technology falling into the wrong hands.
Yeah, this was his whole angle, that it wasn't a plaything and anything, this was serious business, and it was a weapon, really, wasn't it?
It was a weapon.
So for £2, I have bought the central processing chip off the shelf for the Sinclair computer. For all this nice lady and gentleman know, I could be a Russian spy exporting that bit of hardware to do something devious with it.
Something interesting about databases, they would broadcast software at the end of the show. So instead of like end credit music, they would broadcast software. So it would be like the audio beep beep stuff that Spectrum's use.
Now start your recorders for the software transmission, and until next week, goodbye.
So what you actually got was the most surreal 30 seconds in television where human beings would stand in a darkened studio while these machines kind of whined and screamed. It was like, as if they were warning people of the way TV was going to be in 20 years' time.
Now here's a cartoon from internet animator David Firth of fatpie.com.
Welcome back. Our 6 shit guests have pre-written jokes, so the real skill here is who can read them out the best.
That's a good link for my Linford Christie joke.
Choice time. Should our panellists tell a tedious, drawn-out story about a misunderstanding between 2 celebrities? Press the turquoise button for that. Or should he be cutting edge and tell an ironically racist joke that's not really racist, but still manages to offend a few people?
Has anyone pressed any of those blasted buttons yet?
No, because there's a video on the internet of a man and he's talking about his knees. Everyone seems to be watching that.
Realism. That's what people want. Unedited videos, people talking slowly, lip-syncing to pop songs.
Alright chaps, carry on exactly what you're doing, but it's going out live now, it's not edited.
John Bon Jovi was in the news this week. Quippity quip quip cue card quip.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, isn't it? Oh, you, greasy hair, tell a Bon Jovi joke. But I haven't prepared. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, Bob, go on internet, get him a Bon Jovi joke. They should call him Gone Bon Jovi now. Ha ha.
Come on everybody, start laughing.
We won't laugh at that, producer.
Well, I'll just do several laughs and then my editors can cut them all together and it'll sound like a whole audience.
But I thought this was going out unedited.
Oh, bollocks, who cares? No one's watching.
Like any form of mass entertainment, TV is ultimately all about getting bums on seats. But whose bums? And where are the seats? Basically what I'm asking is, what are ratings and how do they work?
Ratings information in the UK is compiled by the Broadcasters Audience Research Board, BARB for short.
Now, being a shambolic unprofessional sort of programme, we haven't shot an interview with a BARB spokesman. But if we had, it might have looked something like this. How are television ratings measured in the UK?
Well, BARB has this panel of households, each of which has this little box that keeps a record of what shows they're watching.
Who chooses them?
BARB does a big survey into the makeup of about 52,000 households, then selects volunteers.
You say volunteers?
Yeah, you can't force people to have the box. It's not a police state.
Ah, so surely there's some kind of sample bias there. I mean, after all, the sort of person who doesn't want a box in their home, keeping tabs of everything they're watching, or simply couldn't be bothered, isn't going to be reflected in the ratings.
Well, yes, but it's still as representative as it can be.
How can they tell how many people in each household are actually there watching the telly?
They've also got a little remote unit, and whenever someone comes in the room, they press a button to register their presence.
Right.
Each person represents about 4,500 viewers.
So if one of them nips out of the room for a piss, then as far as BARB are concerned...
4,500 people took a piss at the same time.
Anyway, people nipping out for a piss notwithstanding, lots of other things can affect the ratings.
Let's ask a shadowy TV insider.
Hello, Shadowy.
That's Mr. TV Insider to you.
Apart from the quality of a show, what else can affect the ratings?
The title for one thing, right? If you're looking for a quick ratings boost, a lurid title's going to stand out in the listings. Sad, but it works. It's a sort of cheap publicity, and publicity is the main one for ratings, really.
It's good for me to try new things, you know, spread my wings.
Take something like Ugly Betty, yeah? Heavy rotation of slick trailers highlighting what a life-affirming ugly duckling chuckle fest it was going to be. Posters all over the shop, ads in all the magazines. You couldn't miss the bloody thing.
Right.
Did you watch it?
No, it was a Friday. I was